It's only.
I feel like they.
Why you have to be mad?
Sorry, what was that?
Is he in Nashville? am I close geographically?
They've
The
been cooking it up.
The contracts are coming in.
No one knows what he is. He's a big orange monster
What's
with
he?
googly eyes.
He's
and
a gritty.
Okay.
Little.
The Florida lead.
What do you think of Owen's bracket? Do you remember it?
It's hopeful.
Folks, welcome. Episode 48 of the Bread Loves Hockey podcast. And I'll just start with the congratulations to the Florida Panthers winning their first Stanley Cup and their 30th anniversary year. Pretty cool. But before we dive into that, because we certainly will, we do have a quick little plug for our end of season clip compilation, because this is going to be our season finale. So we've got a compilation prepared. We're still working on it, but it should come out in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to just give you a quick little 30-second, minute-long trailer showcasing what we're doing. And so stick around to see that at the end.
I thought you were going to show it now.
I guess what I meant by end, I meant the full one will be at a later date. Yeah.
Because what we learned is that people like to watch the first 30 seconds of our 2-hour videos. So since your attention spans are short, we're going to show you the trailer right now. Enjoy.
It's regular season hockey, boys. It's back.
I mean, Wicked can just be more than just a descriptor word. Like, it can be an actual
adjective.
noun.
Barding.
He hit the fucking post.
I don't know any of these things besides Bree's hockey journey.
If you want 6 or 7?
7? 7 what?
Ty, we have a 5-5, a 2-2, a 5-5, and a 2-2. All in the third.
Frozen Frenzy.
You said that so much more clearly.
We got our first hater the other day.
Shout out to my dad.
What a pro wants, what a pro needs. Oh, and god damn it.
That made me mad. Now I'm triggered.
Yeah. Well, you deserve to put on for that. So.
Hey, from in Colorado. They should be yours.
They should.
They should be in a wild card spot.
Have anything you needed to add?
The Suns suck. Hockey sucks.
Okay. P-break. How about that?
That was great.
I thought
I'm
that
so
was
excited to
really
watch the full
funny
version.
and totally excited for the full version, which will come out in, like, I don't know, a couple weeks maybe.
I'd say we can get it done in between this episode release and next.
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
That's exciting.
We've been putting in the work, and we hope you all appreciate it. But we'll jump into the real news. Obviously, I'm sporting the Panthers, and they did avoid what seemed like the inevitable in losing Game 7 after going up 3-0. So I was the only one out of this group that was rooting for Florida. So I had fun last night. But obviously these aren't Edmonton fans, but
Right.
still, it would have been a lot more magical, I guess, as far as like the storylines with the Oilers winning versus the storylines of Florida winning. Hockey wins. Congratulations.
A Florida win is a win for hockey.
Yeah, a win for America. The Canadian curse lives on another season, 31 years. Same with
That's just good for me,
with
right?
Bettman. And that's why I thought Florida was going to win. I had predicted in the last episode, I thought Edmonton would win Game 6 to force Game 7, but then would lose Game 7. So I actually got that one right, because this is the NHL, and you can't have fun storylines like that. It just doesn't usually go that way.
But also, you have to have the team that loses in the Stanley Cup Final win the next Stanley Cup Final.
I guess we'll see. Yeah.
That's just maybe the new status quo. You have to pay your time. But I don't know. I saw a headline of Draisaitl making a big decision and blowing up the team or something. So who knows? Maybe that was the only McDavid chance in Edmonton. Maybe they come back. I'd like to think that they come back, but it leaves the door open for the Sens to be the team to bring the cup back to Canada with our brand new goalie, the star of the show last night. Nobody cared about that stupid hockey game that was happening. Everybody cared about the Sens trade.
We're already getting into the trade. We barely even talked about the frickin' finals.
Everybody's here for the Sens.
No,
you know
they're
that.
not. Maybe a couple.
Um,
Maybe a couple.
No, it was a great game last night. I think it was tense, and I mean it was sick how it started. It seemed like it was going to be a high scoring game, but they definitely both stood on their head a little bit, and 2-1 game is tight. Maybe not the most exciting, but I would have liked to see Edmonton win, but
I mean, there were lots of scoring chances, and like Brendan
Right.
said, we were rooting for Edmonton, and I feel like they just ran out of gas. Like the last 10 minutes of the game, like McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman were probably on there for like
the whole game.
75% of that time.
Yeah.
Like
I'd
they
like to see their numbers for the
did not
game in
have
general,
anything
the
left
box
in the
score.
tank. Like they obviously wanted it. Like you can't.
Oh, right.
Their
But also it
competitive
just
spirit
goes to
was
show-
there. They just could not like. I mean, they've been playing crazy minutes the whole like reverse sweep run, I guess you could say, up
Right.
until Game 7.
Yeah.
So
Right. I think it just goes to show like the more balanced side of the Florida team, right, versus the unlike the deeper Florida team against Edmonton, where those Edmonton Stars couldn't, were just so gassed, like you said, at the end of the third.
yeah, I don't know if you guys ever do this when you're watching like later in the playoffs once your team's been eliminated or didn't make it or whatever, where you're like watching the team and expect like and thinking of the plays as if they were your team, where they're like, for example, in Game 6, there was a play where Draisaitl could have shot it, and he tried to pass it, and I'm like, don't pass it, like, because the Bruins always overpass. I'm like, why would you pass it? What a terrible decision. And it was just the most beautiful saucer pass, like, tape to tape. I forget who scored that goal, but I was like, I guess, like, some teams are just better than the team I root for, and, like, they can do these things, because, like, I don't know, it's just, I guess, one of the years where, like, yeah, I don't think the Bruins would have won. Like, the Bruins weren't this good.
Right.
Like, I like to say that, well, we almost beat the Panthers. If we beat the Panthers, we could have been in the finals. But, like, watching some of the other teams, and, like, again, especially, like, Panthers and Oilers, I'm like, yeah, these are good. These are good hockey teams.
Right. They made it to the end for a reason.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. I guess we could do a quick recap on Game 6 because that game hadn't happened yet after last episode. So, pretty commanding win for Edmonton. Their last home game of the season. They won, I think it was like 5-1. And, all the life was pretty much out of the Panthers at that point. So it's like, okay, here we go. This is what we were hoping for. And then
right.
They scored first, finally, in Game 7, which I had said prior to that I thought whoever was going to score first would win. Not a crazy...
I said that.
Yeah, you said that too, because it's not really...
Well, no, I didn't say whoever. I said the Panthers. If Edmonton scored first, I was like...
You never know,
yeah.
But Panthers finally do it because they hadn't scored first in all of those 3 games that they lost in that series, so... That was big. Of course, Edmonton...
Not like it mattered much.
Yeah, it didn't matter a ton because Edmonton scored, like, a couple minutes later.
Right.
And then Reinhardt with the game winner.
If we want to include... we were on Discord at the time as we were watching the game, and I had bet... I don't know if I was talking about it before the game or if it was as the game started, that after they were talking about if Florida scores first... then they'll win the game. I was betting that if Florida scores first, the Oilers will win the game, and so then immediately after the Oilers getting that goal, I was feeling good about that bet, all the way up into the next Panthers goal.
Yeah. And the other thing we didn't talk about because it was in Game 6 was the offside challenge. That was like super ballsy.
The very close one, yeah.
It was so close, and like
would have changed the momentum of the game.
That's like a tie game, so like shout out to Edmonton's whatever, I don't know, not review
Video
crew.
coach, yeah.
Video coach, yeah.
Video coach, yeah, that's the word. Like,
Have you guys
like
looked back at the play and like kind of tried to determine for yourself if you thought it was onside or not? Because at
thought
the
it was the right
time, I
call.
thought the margins were like really slim, and apparently there
You know,
was an
it's-
overhead shot, like an overhead camera angle that kind of showed that it was onside, or
offside.
offside, yeah, because it was a Florida goal, right?
Right.
Well, it would have been. So it was. At the time, I was like, I really don't think that they'll have enough to overturn this, but they did. So I don't know if it necessarily would have meant that the Panthers would have won that game, but it certainly would have helped.
I mean, not that they had been good on the power play. So,
Right.
Like, yeah, but I also hate that whenever they do the challenge and have the broadcast showing the angles, they never pause it. Like, why can't you just pause on the frame for a second?
Or just go like frame by frame.
Yeah,
by
and
frame.
then be like, oh, here's the one that we care about. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know, watching it in real time, I was like, I think it is offside. But again, I have that slight bias, and you had that slight bias based off who we were rooting for.
Right.
That could be a factor. But yeah, I thought it
Clearly
the
was
right
very
call.
close.
And then I think I did see like the freeze frame, and like that did have proof, but it wasn't straight on. So then there's like parallax or whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Like
The thickness of the ice versus where the line is under the ice and the angle. And, yeah. I feel like when it's that close, you just
Mm-hmm.
Until we have like, sensors in every single piece of everything to tell exactly where stuff is. Just not gonna happen. Or like really high tech 3D cameras that watch it and can just interpret where everyone is.
Maybe someday.
It'll be interesting. It'd be a neat way to watch your team, like in your arena, just like 3D projected.
Yeah, which they kind of do that already for the watch
with
parties.
the little dots.
The dots, and it's actually pretty cool how they can use like that live player tracking.
Right.
But I've never been to one of those, but I'd imagine it would be still pretty fun, and it's like a lot cheaper than going to the actual game, obviously.
Right,
right. $15, just hang out with a bunch of fans, and you're just all staring at the ice, just like you would if there were any players on there.
Are they allowed to like show the broadcast on the big screen?
I'm pretty sure they do, yeah.
I would imagine they would, right? Because they would have their own broadcast version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they show it on the big screen.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So you're really
It'd
just
be like going to a big old movie
TV
theater
with a bunch of people.
Yeah. And you get to eat. You get to pay for it, but you get to eat stadium food.
Yeah.
I'd be in for that.
Drinks. Have a good time.
Oh yeah, you get like a $20 ticket, but then you're still paying $20 for a beer.
Right.
When you can watch it at home.
Parking.
That's
right. But it's the experience.
Yeah, I know it is. So pretty cool. I don't know. Any other thoughts about how the actual Game 7 went? How you guys were feeling about it? And obviously McDavid didn't have any points in the last two games. Sounds like he was battling a little bit of some sort of abdominal injury. But that was tough to watch. And then he still gets the Conn Smythe, and obviously doesn't come out to accept the award. Can't say you really blame him. It's kind of like you really should have, but I don't know. You don't feel good about it.
At least. Like he still was like available to the media and all that.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt to me like Game 7 was like more of a the beginning was exciting, but it didn't. I don't know. I wanted more out of it. I think. It didn't feel, more, overtime would have been nice, ideally, but, I don't know. I guess it was tense and it was down to the wire, but
could have been like a chances. Could have been like a 3-2 final. Or
a 3-2, right. Yeah, or a 4-2 even, like a 4-2, but before an empty netter, just some more going on. Like only 3 5-on-5 or like not. Not end of the game goals is After they put up 9 cumulative goals, the other night. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I was expecting some more fireworks, but Bob certainly refound his form. And I guess, you know, if it wasn't for that one night, right, where he sort of let it go for real, he probably wins Conn Smythe, right? Like, if he didn't get pulled that one night and he just had a couple of losses, probably still wins it.
Yeah,
Because
Because
definitely
it's
a
for
lot
the whole
closer.
playoffs.
It's tough to say. I don't know if you guys saw the like the breakdown of the Conn Smythe voting, and it was 16 first place votes for McDavid, and only one person voted for Bobrovsky for first
Oh,
place.
wow.
So it's like
That's tough.
how much could one big game have really impacted that just based on his
Yeah.
performance? But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure
But also, I
McDavid
guess-
got a handful of points in that game, so
Right.
it's like that could have
Right.
impacted it too. Like maybe if he only gets like 38 points or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Splitting hairs here on hypotheticals.
Yeah, I mean he's broke one of Gretzky's records. I feel like for the most part, it's kind of gonna
Yeah. You
That's
break
a-
a Gretzky
that's
record,
standard.
you get, yeah.
on the radar for.
You get an award just for that.
Right, pretty much. He got a fancy HUD card just for it, with 99 everything, other than endurance and fighting. There's like, end of the season, sure.
Sure.
You break a Gretzky record, get whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know, I found the game pretty entertaining. I mean, the whole series, like a lot of the playoffs, honestly, had been like low shooting. So like it was like I don't know,
Yeah,
the final
they were.
shots were 20 something a piece maybe, and like even with that, there were lots of scoring chances. Like goalies lost in the middle of nowhere and players blocking shots. Like good chances like that where you're like, oh, this might be a goal kind of thing.
Right.
So it's not like
High
it
danger.
wasn't a boring 2-1 game. There were decent
Right.
scoring chances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess-
overall, it was kind of like, I don't know. We were talking about this a little bit as the series progressed. There weren't a ton of lead changes kind of throughout the whole series. So while it ended up being Game 7 and it ended up getting close, like sort of the path to getting there wasn't super interesting because any of the teams that were winning were pretty much like winning pretty dominantly, except for I think like the game 5 was pretty close. I think that was the 4-3 Edmonton win
Yeah.
where they had.
Because that was the one they won in Florida.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was a strange series. It was obviously a very historic series and well watched as it progressed. So I'm sure the league was really happy with that going to 7, having a lot more eyeballs on it than usual. I mean, even at my office, there were like people talking to me today about it that really don't know much at all about hockey. So it's pretty cool to see it get into those deeper reaches of general sports watching.
Helps
Yeah.
with revenue too.
I think it going slightly longer than the NBA Finals is good, right? Because I think there was hype around the NBA Finals as well, and it how it mirrored the others. But then that, the Oilers were able to come back, from that 3-0 and bring it back to a Game 7.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm sure you've seen the Jason Tatum, Matthew Tkachuk, their high school friendship or whatever it was in Kansas City, and how they're now both winning championships in the same year.
That's
So I think,
cool.
right, and so I think that brought in more just eyes in general onto the finals, which is just neat. It's good to see.
Yeah, so there were a couple fun storylines with Florida winning. Obviously, winning your franchise's first cup is always fun.
So cool.
And Paul Maurice getting his first cup. He was the longest tenured active coach without one. So good for him. He seemed really just grateful for the opportunity when he lifted it. He was actually right about to start an interview with Emily Kaplan, and then Barkov's like, "Hold up, you got to lift this right now." So,
Which is like
Ozo seemed
kinda
pretty
cool.
happy too.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And he got a $500,000 bonus for winning the cup, which the Sabres have to pay. So
Yeah.
pretty cool for
That's
him.
pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. Also neat first Finnish captain ever to lift,
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
which I feel like would have happened by now in however many years that the cups, however many 100 times.
probably
Granted,
aren't a
not
ton
that
of
many
Finnish
players.
captains.
Right, and you gotta, but interesting that Barkov's the first.
Yeah. And another former Sabres captain lifts the cup. Not with the Sabres, of course. Okposo and Eichel in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah.
And I think there was another former Buffalo captain that's also lifted the cup. Not on maybe O'Reilly, was he ever the captain there?
I think
can't
so.
remember.
It would make sense.
So yeah, tougher Buffalo fans seeing all their buddies leave and then win.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still fun. Like obviously Reinhardt too was pretty well respected after he left. And it sounds like he's going to stick around in Florida because he's a pending UFA. We'll see how much money he's looking for, if he just wants to kind of run it back more or less. But yeah, lots of off-season stuff to delve into as we progress. It's going to be a very tight window where a lot of hockey stuff is going to be happening all at once. We've got the NHL awards on Thursday at the Sphere. We've got the buyout window opens up, I believe, on Friday. And then we've got the draft on Saturday and Sunday? Or is it
Wow.
Friday, Saturday?
And you forgot the Board of Governors meeting
Friday,
is
Saturday.
on Wednesday. And today, Tuesday, was the Hall of Fame announcement.
Yep.
Oh,
Inductees. So
I didn't
Yeah,
know any of
actually-
those things happened. That's so
Well,
exciting.
Not all of them have happened yet. Only one of them
Are
has happened.
happening. Yes.
Yes.
Excited about all of the things.
Chock full of good stuff. And then, of course, July 1st is free agent frenzy. So we won't be done with the coverage here, even though this season is technically ending. We're just going to hop right into season 2.
Wow.
But
We're going interesting class of 2024. I just looked at that.
Yeah,
If we want to transition into that now that we've
would you
mentioned
like
it,
to talk about it?
I think so.
I would love to talk about it. That's I mean, I feel like Shea Weber is getting in at the same
is
time
his
as Pavel
first-
Datsyuk. That feels weird.
This is Shea Weber's first year eligible.
Right. How many
I
years
don't-
has
I didn't
Pavel
see him as a
Datsyuk
first-
been
As
eligible?
a first year or first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess who else is available, right? Whose spot is he taking? I guess it would be what I'm unsure about.
Yeah, it's always so tough because I'm not, that familiar with all of the players that are
The
eligible.
older players, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know Rod Brendamore has been eligible for years.
But they're not going to because he's still a coach.
No, he could.
They
So
still
he would
could.
be inducted as a player.
Oh, sure. Huh.
Dean, do you want to quickly just rip off the names for our winners, our inductees?
I don't have the first names in front of me, so I only have this image.
There is another. Somebody else tweeted the names. I just gotta find it.
Well, I had a different article from earlier that I was reading earlier.
Okay. Well, the Hockey Hall of Fame tweeted all the individual names, so I have all those. I can just rip through them. Colin Campbell as a builder is the title there, as well as David Poyle, former GM of the Predators, long time there. Natalie Darwitz as a player. Pavel Datsyuk, obviously player there. Jeremy Roenick, Shea Weber, and Chrissy Wendell-Pole. So, I don't know. I don't always have a ton to say about these, again, because I'm generally not very familiar. I mean, I've watched some of Weber at the tail end of his career. And I obviously know how well respected Datsyuk is as far as skill and all that. So can't say I'm too surprised that he's in, but I don't know how many years he had been eligible for before they.
He had been in for a while because I had been rooting for him. Datsyuk was one of the players that I caught the tail end of his career when I started watching, and I think as I told you at the time, I guess they still are. Maybe not. The Red Wings were my second favorite team back then.
Yeah.
Because of him?
Datsyuk, Zetterberg, Cronwall, just those guys.
Yeah.
They're just a fun team to watch. But yeah, yeah, so he's kind of been my pick every year. Like aside from the new players that come out, I'm like Datsuk, get Datsuk in there. So it's nice to see him. Um, Hoyle makes sense just for all he did with Nashville, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was their only GM until last season. So
Wow.
Yeah.
to have that longevity, have like the success that the Preds had. I mean, they haven't won the Stanley Cup yet, but they've made it to a finals, and they made the playoffs a decent chunk of their seasons. So I'm not gonna argue with that pick at all. The rest
Yeah.
of the players, I mean, Jeremy Roenick, I obviously know the name, but I can't say I'm familiar with his game, and
Right.
unfortunately, I don't know the rest of the inductees very well at
Well,
all.
Colin Campbell, I'm like I've heard his name a bunch. He must like as a builder.
Yeah, I think the Campbell Cup is named after him.
That adds up. Yeah,
Well, because he was
I don't know
the
who the
league's
female
senior
players
vice
are.
president, director of hockey operations. I think he also did like I want to say stuff as far like with suspensions, but maybe I
Hmm.
could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know
Oh,
what
like
hockey ops does, but
Department of Player Safety.
yeah,
That
yeah. I
could
wonder if he
be.
worked.
I feel like I remember those two being connected in some way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's I think
Um,
that's all I've got, anyways.
yeah, like Shea
Yep.
Shea Weber's the only weird one to me. The other player that didn't get in that I know like Elliot Friedman, Greg Wyshynski. Like Wyshynski especially has been trying to get, or like not trying, but like saying this player needs to get in forever is Alex McGillney.
That's
Like,
who I was thinking
Uh,
too. I've heard a lot of chatter about him.
let's
yeah,
say
again, it was like
Marlowe.
he was before my time, but I think I want to say he's Russian, which is like one of the things like, well, that's why he's not getting in, kind
But
of
then
thing.
Datsuk gets in.
Right, but I think stats wise, Datsuk probably got more than McGillney. I don't know.
I don't
Let's
know if
see,
Datsuk has any
1032.
70 goal seasons.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but yeah, that's really all I got. Oh, and Curtis Joseph was the other talks I heard this year as a potential to get in. But obviously not.
Not this time around.
No.
Not sure if Marlowe had enough, has been out
Oh,
of the league long
Marlowe
enough.
too. That was
Yeah.
someone I heard.
Oh, he was eligible. Okay.
I believe so. Yeah. So I mean, there's like a well, I have the Hockey Hall of Fame website. I'm looking at the 2023 induction eligible players. So like,
Hmm.
there are some players that um like are players we watched, and it's like hopefully in the future we'll have a better idea. Like Justin Williams, is he a Hall of Famer? Like Dan Hamhuis is probably a little bit before you
Yeah.
guys.
I've heard the
But,
name though.
I don't even know if I'm
um,
familiar with him. I don't.
Shane Doan,
Okay. I
Patrick
know
You're
who
right.
he
Elias,
is.
Ray Ferraro. Obviously, I don't know his
Ray
playing career, but
Ferraro. I mean, yeah, he should definitely at
Vinny
this point.
LeCavier again was like when I first started watching. Rick Nash.
Hmm.
So like we'll get to that point where it's like, oh yeah, I watched this guy's career.
As
Keith
we get
Tkachuk.
older,
Oh, Rick
Keith.
Tocchet was another name I heard. Um,
as a
as
player,
potential.
or
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Zetterberg's on this list too.
Oh. But didn't he get in last year?
He might have, because again, this is the 2023
Eligible people.
eligible, so I don't remember
I
who
think
got
he
in.
did.
But
Because I feel like Zetterberg would be a first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion.
well, he definitely
No?
won first ballot because he's been retired forever.
Has he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know the
mean,
timeline. I just know he's before my time watching hockey.
he retired like maybe a year or two after I started watching. I feel like. I feel like I remember seeing him on Detroit, but it's tough to tell. But I've actually been watching for a decent amount now, so
Mm-hmm.
pretty
Right.
cool.
I guess 2018. Yeah.
8
Well, I
years.
mean, that was 6 years ago.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's pretty much what I was expecting.
Right.
Cool.
I guess one last thing is, how many years after retirement are you eligible? You know?
I'm not sure.
5? I don't know.
I'll guess 7.
Basis of selection. Eligibility. Must not play during any of the 3 playing seasons prior to his or her
3.
election.
3.
That
Wow.
would have been my second guess.
I guess, yeah, because Marlowe it just recently came out
I think like
of the
5.
league.
Yeah, I was thinking 5 too.
And Yager can't be inducted because it's not the NHL Hall of Fame, it's the Hockey Hall of Fame, and he's still playing professionally in
Correct.
Czechia.
He did say this is going to be his last season, though. Which,
So
like,
3 more years, and
that's
then
good.
he can be inducted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they might just, like, make a special circumstance for him. Like, you know what? It's fine. Like, you're good.
Because like, he's first ballot Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
right?
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 There's no
Okay.
question about that one. Like,
Yeah. I figured.
I don't know
You know who else?
much, but I know
Who do you think would be the next one that is?
First
Like,
ballot Hall of Famer, Zdeno
Yeah.
Chara. And then Bergeron.
you think so? You think
I don't know.
both?
I'm biased. Well,
I think Chara. I think Chara for sure.
So that's next. Well,
Is that
yeah,
next
he
year?
didn't play. He retired before the 2022 season, so he's eligible
Chara
next year.
and Yager.
That'll be a nice one.
Pretty good class, yeah.
But also, I mean, maybe Bergeron. I could see it. But David Krejci, probably not.
No.
Not first ballot, probably.
But at some point, if there's enough arguments of, he won a few cups.
Well, not a few.
One. A cup.
It's different. We've actually
Better than
talked
none.
about this. This was like one of the first things we talked about on this podcast, actually, was Krejci. I don't remember what episode, but it was
I
like...
think I don't know if it was Hall of Fame. I think it was Banner, which is very different.
Oh,
yeah,
retirement.
Because Banner
Yeah.
for a team is a lower bar for most
Much
teams.
lower bar. Yeah.
Maybe
then-
we asked about it, but I don't think so.
So the other
Yeah, I don't
interesting thing I wonder is how many players that have played like mostly for one team are in the Hall of Fame but not have their jersey retired.
know.
Like, sure, if you played, like, if you're Yager, it's like not every single team's gonna retire their number if you played there for 1 year. Like the Bruins aren't retiring
Right.
61 or whatever number he was,
68.
even though he's
But-
gonna be a Hall of Famer.
68.
Yeah,
I
like
think
the-
he just wore 68 everywhere, didn't he?
Well, I think there were some places. Yeah, I guess he's kind of the person where it's like, yeah, you can
Give
have my
him-
number. Here you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I know he wore it in Florida. He probably did in Calgary. Like, yeah, just those teams.
I think he wore it in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Definitely in Pittsburgh.
I think.
Pretty positive about that. But
Yeah. I mean,
another
yeah,
time.
I'm trying to think goalie wise. Like, Price, probably whenever he officially retires.
As in first ballot, you're saying?
I think so. Carey Price.
He was pretty good.
I mean, he was pretty
doesn't-
freaking good.
Doesn't have the cup to show for it, unfortunately. But
But as a goalie, I feel like it's also so much harder to win a cup by yourself.
oh yeah,
You're just trying to think of soonest, right? That like
Right.
soonest active player, or I guess was they
Or
maybe
soonest.
or recently retired? Yeah.
Yeah, recently retired.
Yeah, I
Right,
think
because Carey
Chara's
Price
gonna
isn't
be
that
next.
like not like is he retired? Is he starting to count the? He's not playing, so he's clearly starting to count those eligible years.
maybe
Mhm.
maybe Pecorine too. I don't know. Is he already in the
Ooh.
hall?
If not, I
think
could definitely see
so.
Pecorine. But I don't know if I'm just like if it's just recency bias because that's like who I remember as being like
Right.
the best goalies.
Yeah, because they're gonna still compete with again, like all these players that have been trying to get into the Hall of Fame for a decade.
Right, and like I also can't see how Vasilevsky doesn't get in the Hall of Fame. And if you put a Vasilevsky in, like, do
He's
either
not
of
gonna
them match?
retire for a while.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But like with the cups that he has and like as good as he's been, I feel like it'd be crazy for him to not be in the Hall of Fame at some point, right?
Is McDavid
And-
already a lock for the Hall of Fame?
With a Conn Smythe, with losing with a Conn Smythe, I think so.
Like if he had like a career-ending injury right now, like he
Hmm.
never plays again.
Yeah, I'd say especially in that case.
Yeah. With the pace like that he's on
It
as
doesn't
far
matter.
as points and goals and all that jazz and
I mean, I think it would be similar
Some of
to
the teams he's
Lemieux,
been
right?
on.
Where he was really, really, really good and just didn't play a very long career.
And Bobby Orr.
And Bobby Orr, right? Like, he's still in the Hall.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I mean, not coming up, but like older players that are like locks is like obviously Ovi, Crosby, Kane.
I'd say Ryan O'Reilly as well from that generation.
I mean, not like locks.
no, I
He's
wouldn't put him in
he's on a
that
different
same.
tier than those three.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not
If
in the
you
same
talk about
tier.
those like superstars, like and
Okay.
O'Reilly, it's like
And
Like, where's
would
that
you
coming
also
from?
say Taves? Would you also say Taves?
he's still a step below those three.
Sure.
And like, trying to think if I'm forgetting anyone. Like Taves might be with like Kopitar.
Sure. Or
Yeah.
Drew Doughty.
Hedman, then yeah.
Right? Stamkos.
Right.
Sure, yeah, sure. Now we're just naming players that we know.
Good hockey players.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like Stamkos isn't that far below Kane.
No, I'd say he's yeah.
I mean, I
Similar.
would be surprised if Stamkos doesn't get in the Hall of Fame with captaining 3 cups.
Oh, he definitely
Like,
does. Yeah,
right? Like,
he's a lock.
Well, 2 cups.
is it only 2?
3 finals appearances, but 2 wins.
Gotcha. 3 final, yeah.
The Lightning have won 3 cups, but he wasn't.
But the
there.
first one was 2003, 6,
4.
3, 4. I was close.
You were dancing around it, yeah.
Yeah.
But you received no credit.
None.
How
Other
about
than
some,
that getting announced, what else got announced?
I know what Owen wants to talk about. We can go talk about it.
Yeah,
now.
let's
Okay, Nedeljkovic is in Pittsburgh for 2 years at $2.5 million.
You
That's
seem
what I
really
wanna talk
excited about that one.
I just like him. He's a good goalie. You know, I'm glad Pittsburgh's got their guy. I feel like their trouble's been goaltending.
He was out.
I don't even know if they
Jari
have
for
it
some
net.
time.
Yeah, right. Like
so it'll be
they just
Jari
need
and Nedeljkovic.
they just need somebody to try and step up, and hopefully he can be a guy who can do that for them, provide some stability.
Got the blessing from Owen.
That's all. That's what they're looking for. You should see how many calls I get during the week. And just teams asking if it's okay to make a certain signing. It's really annoying. It's a lot of work I got to do.
You're just a league consultant.
Just making sure it all is kosher.
Some team calls you like, so what do you think about this trade, Owen? You're like, oh yeah, that looks good. And then the other team involved in the trade calls you, and you're like, yeah, don't do it.
No way, dude. You're getting fleeced.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Okay.
However, the middle stat extension, that's a good one. That guy's good. He deserves some money. And I feel like 5.75 is a good middle ground of like you're a good, really good role player, especially with a bump in the cap space. Like you're a really good role player. You're a second, third liner, top 9 forward sort of vibe. Especially if it's a long season, people get hurt. You could probably slot up into the top 6.
Absolutely.
Right, like just one of those sort of dependable forwards that you just need on a hockey team. And
I also feel like when GMs trade for a player, it's like they almost feel like they need to re-sign them because otherwise, if they trade for them and then let them walk soon after, it's like
what do we get it? Yeah.
You get a lot of criticism for that, sure.
You're kind of committed to them at that point, but I do
Right.
think it's a good signing.
Which that kind of leads into the actual news that Owen was excited for in the Linus Ullmark deal. So Linus Ullmark
Pretty cool.
is now a member of the Ottawa Senators.
Your Ottawa Senators. Let's go.
So there was no extension with that. So he's just there for one more year.
Because you can't technically extend yet. Like that's also
Right.
June. That's also not July 1st. It's like 2 days from now, maybe. I forget the day. It's one of
It's
those
soon.
days
Yeah.
of the week that's the hockey week that has
Right.
all the dates coming up. One of those dates.
Yeah.
All the things that are happening.
So it would have had to have
Three-time
been an extension signed by Boston and
The
then
Bruins
traded if they
before,
wanted
yeah.
to do that. So that
Right.
wasn't
So
done.
they can
Right.
still, I mean, a couple of days talk about an extension, or Ullmark can play the season and decide, and like
Yeah.
there's
I mean, I
options
think,
there.
we just mentioned, the Sens are gonna want to try and sign an extension. I mean, you maybe want to see how it goes only because we've burned so many times, but like this is clearly a different level of goalie than Korpisalo or Forsberg or any of our young guys coming up. Like a proven different level, different caliber, like Vezina winner,
Goal scorer.
gonna be
Goal scorer.
goal scorer, Swedish meatball. Like it's a good time in Sens land. People are feeling pretty good.
I'll quickly just break down the trade details because we've already mentioned who went to Boston, but going to Ottawa, but going the other way to Boston is Korpisalo, who's still signed for 4 more seasons. The number 25 pick and center Mark Kastelik, which kind of I think he was fourth line center for you guys most of the season.
Yeah, yeah, but like a reliable fourth line center, like a kind of chippy guy, like he gives Boston energy. Honestly, like I'm pretty sure he's
Uh,
American as well.
He's good defensively, and
Hmm.
he was 56% on the dot last year, so he can
Yes,
definitely use the face-off help.
he's good. He's good on the dot, and he's just sort of like a strong, hard-working sort of guy.
Seems like a
Came up through
player
the A.
that Bruins fans will like not be sure when the season starts how they feel about him, but will grow into like being a Kastelik fan. So
Yeah,
Yeah, it just seemed weird. Like, I mean, we have so much depth, like bottom six forwards already. It's like we have defensive forwards that can't score already, but
right. He
um,
he's got some good hands, and like he does some interesting like pregame stuff, and so like there's some potential. He doesn't have the highest ceiling, I'd say. I could see him being a really good third line center if he really develops himself. But I mean that's talking 3 years down the road if he continues to really like grow in this new environment. But I think the
yeah,
biggest thing is getting rid of the Corpusalo contract because that was an overpayment. And I feel like we realized it maybe 2 months into the season, which was difficult. Retaining 25% is whatever, right? We hold back, what is it, 1.25 million? We have to
1
hold
million. He's
1
getting
million.
four by four remaining, so
Mm-hmm.
we're paying him 3 for 4 years. And the other
And
thing I
we're
was going to mention
paying one for the
about
next 3. Not bad.
the trade is the Bruins basically get their first round pick back, so they're getting the 25th
Right,
overall pick. Um,
which is
I mean,
yeah,
a lot of the reactions were that like Ottawa fleeced Boston, and I mean, yeah, you're getting like a Vezina goalie, and like yesterday I was like, yeah, it's not that bad, and like today, thinking it over, I'm like, not great. Like if it was just Ullmark for our first overall pick, I was like, that's a fine trade. Like we get a first round pick for a goalie rental is what this is.
right.
And like people were comparing it to the Markstrom one, and they got like a depth defender in return
Mm-hmm.
and a 2025 first round pick that's top 10 protected. So
Mm-hmm.
like kind of, if again ignoring the corporate solo thing for a sec, like that would be similar to what we got, but Markstrom is signed for term still, so that's the big difference versus
Right.
um, the rental. But I just think like maybe we could have gotten an extra pick for taking on Corpusalo's contract. Like
Right.
we didn't save any. Like we saved 2 million a year in cap space. Well, I guess maybe even less than that because Catholic isn't
Kastelik,
free.
yeah.
Like maybe a third round pick thrown in there would maybe feel a little better. But like I would have loved just like Ullmark for a first, or what I saw rumored was um, we give Ullmark and Lauko, who's like a kind of like a grindy bottom six forward, and we would get like a first in Chikrin. That's like
I think that was asking a lot. I think they want a good price for Chikrin if they're going to get rid of him.
Or maybe there was like a prospect in there too. I don't remember, but yeah, like I said, I don't love the trade. The other thing I heard was so Ullmark had a no trade list, and that can get restructured. Again, one of these days coming up. It's like 2 days from now or something that they can send
Probably
in a new
July
list.
1st.
And apparently, Ottawa wasn't on his list now because the Sens had just gotten Korpisalo, so he like didn't think that the Sens would be looking for a goalie. And then,
Sure.
but on his new list, Ottawa was going to be on there. So the Bruins were kind of in a tight spot and trying to like get things done quickly because Ottawa was one of the main teams looking. There were a couple other teams apparently interested, but I guess maybe Ottawa had the best deal. Which, looking at the deal, is like hard to believe.
I know, that's what
But
I was
unless
kind of
you-
wondering.
If this
Like,
is what you got out of
like,
it, like
what
would
else
it
was
really
out
have hurt
there?
it? Would it have hurt to like wait a couple days or weeks? Like you're in the off season already. It's like
that's
I don't
kind of what
know.
I'm thinking. Like, especially with there were certainly other teams that want a number one goalie this offseason. And like, so there's still some spots to be filled. So I was kind of surprised. I'm like, could there have been like a better deal out there? And maybe part of it was again like the no trade list being a factor. But obviously it would be so fun to be a fly on the wall and just sort of hear like what else was out there, and that this deal obviously ended up beating everything out because on the surface it doesn't seem like a major Boston win, but time will tell, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, normally Sweeney's been pretty good about like trade deadline acquisitions and that sort of thing. So it's like kind of surprising. Like he's always been decent with that and signing players at like team friendly deals, and then drafting's always been like, but
Yeah.
so it's just one of the things where it's like, like yeah, like you said, there's probably something obviously going on that we're not privy to.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is that extra 2 million's enough so we can get Draisaitl now. Who knows? Well, maybe we'll know in a couple weeks or days.
I'm wondering if getting your own pick back, maybe there's some value in that, because don't you need to have your own picks in order to like do certain like RFA signings
for the offer
to
sheet?
like right, except for offer sheets, right? Like don't you
We're
need
gonna
to have
offer
your
sheet someone for 22
like
million. We got offer sheet McDavid. They can't match it.
right? Like I mean, I don't know, maybe, but you have to
Well,
have
he's
your own
not
pick
an
in order
RFA.
to do it,
Yeah.
right? I don't know who would be an RFA that like you would need your own first round pick in order to offer sheet right now, but there's some value in that, right?
Yeah, I mean, you need to. They have to be picks from this year in order to go through. So there's like uncapped friendly. They'll have.
You know who the top
cap-
RFA
Cap
is
friendly
this
doesn't exist
offseason?
anymore.
Well, it still exists until July 5th.
Oh, okay, I didn't know where they were already.
You didn't know that?
Oh, I just thought I'm on Puckpedia. I thought it was gone.
Oh, and come on, you gotta milk cap friendly for all it's worth until it's dead.
That's the same thing.
It's
I'm
not
ready
the
to make the
same thing, and
transition.
that's why people were so upset. But anywho, what were you
Well,
saying?
the
Lucas
best
Raymond.
RFA this
Seth Jarvis.
offseason is Jeremy Swayman. Maybe we can offer sheet that guy.
I don't think that'll work out somehow.
What do you mean he's the best? I don't
According
think
to
he's
this
the best.
Sportsnet article.
I
You know
think
who's the
Lucas
best?
Raymond's the best one available.
He's number 3. You think he's better than Moritz Seider?
I don't know. But you could fleece Detroit. That would be funny.
Ooh,
Just
Thomas
take
Harley?
them both. And Seth Jarvis.
Yeah, Jarvis isn't a bad option.
Quentin Byfield. I think Quentin Byfield's about to explode.
Natty Beniers.
Oh,
This would have been
I would
Tim
be
Stützle.
surprised if he got offer sheeted. I feel like
Uko.
Seattle would be
Pekka.
able
Luukkonen.
to-
Oh, Pavel Dorofeyev.
No, nobody offer sheet him. We certainly can't match whatever it is.
Do you like him or something?
Although we'd probably just take the picks, I guess, whatever it was. I like him. I do think he's a fun young forward with some upside. So I would be a little bit sad to see him go, but I just don't see the way that we'll be able to keep him.
Yeah.
But we'll table that for when we have our off-season previews and what have you.
Also, the final thing related to the Ullmark trade is the Bruins signed or extended Brandon Bussey 1 year at league min. It's a two-way deal, so he can play up, and I guess it also means he's waiver eligible now. So
Yeah, two-way doesn't mean that you're waiver exempt or anything like that, which is a common misconception. It just means that he'll be getting paid a different salary depending on where he's playing. So,
right.
Yeah, with bringing in Corpusalo and obviously having him signed for 4 more years, the expectation is still going to be Providence for Bussy this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think some people were kind of like hoping that he would just be the backup and sort of like learn from Swayman this year, but he's still young-ish, so.
We were talking about this last night after the trade. Was like, Swayman's only going to play around 50 games, maybe. So it's like, do you trust Brandon Bussey, who hasn't played in the NHL, with like that amount of workload, like 30 games?
Probably
You
not.
probably want
A lot.
a backup who's actually played in the NHL.
Right.
And you're a
And
lot
hopefully
more
Corpusalo
comfortable
can
with
do that.
him backing up, obviously, than being the starter. So, I don't know. I don't
But
think
also-
he'll be terrible.
I mean, we traded away Gustafsson, and he was great in Minnesota. So maybe it's just the place after the Sens and goalies are good there. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been that way with goalies on bad teams. But if you look at like the stats with the Sens, like they're statistically decent at defense, and their trouble was just goaltending.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But maybe with a better defense, they'll have better goaltending. It's just, I guess the question is how much better.
Yeah.
Because even like Ullmark in Buffalo, it's like you could tell like he had good stats like relative to how bad the team was. But this case is a little different with Corpusalo.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Like how it's a little different with us buying, or buying into goalies. Hopefully it's a little different this time.
I would be pretty surprised if this one backfired, but the Sens always find ways to disappoint. So can't count that out.
Have in the past. I truly
unpredictable.
Yeah, but this feels like the first big Steve Stamkos move, right? Like if this doesn't work out, I think he's certainly his neck's on it, right? This is his stamp of approval.
I mean, Ullmark's only 30 still, so like he has a good year in Ottawa. Ottawa gives him 8 years, 10 million, and then he sucks for the
8
rest
years,
of his time.
10 million.
His time there.
That's a rough deal.
That's like what Bobrovsky got, basically.
Yeah. Is he Bob? Maybe
don't think
6
Bob's really
years,
good.
8 million. Pay him 8 million until he's 36.
Like I said, who
37
knows?
actually, because he'll be 31 when we sign him.
How much is Forsberg making right now?
2 by 2.5, 2 by 3.5.
He
2 by 4.
is making. He's signed for 1 more year, 2.75.
It was so it was a 2.275. 2 by 2.75.
Yeah, you got there eventually.
You knew what I meant.
Yep. So that's the latest on the trades and signings. Although it was one minor trade today with Jake Wallman and a 2025 second going to the Sharks for future considerations. So
That feels like a lot. Like I thought Jake Wallman was okay.
he's getting paid $3.4 million, which is probably what did it.
Yeah, that's a cap deal.
Just a cap deal.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of too bad because he had a really fun time in Detroit. I feel like
It seemed like it, right? Like
And
I remember when we played him.
he had a couple of those OT winners where he was like doing
Yeah.
the gritty and all that stuff. So good.
I mean, I
have
hated
that guy
him,
in
but
San
like,
Jose, I guess.
Yeah, I guess put him in San Jose. Get him out of here.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about him over there.
Not my problem anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Play him once a year.
Let's see. Just looking at there was one other. Yeah, Dylan DeMello also signed an extension to stay in Winnipeg. So, just good to have people that want to stay there long term. Honestly, Paul Maurice did say he hopes that the Jets are the next team to win the cup. So we'll see if that happens.
Oh.
Obviously.
And you see
former
Matthew
coach.
Tkachuk give like Calgary a shout out. And
Yeah. It's like shout out
That's
to my Flames fans. Couldn't let Edmonton win it. It's like that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Funny how that worked
That's
out.
the one silver lining for them, because oh my god, did they lose that trade?
Yeah.
In hindsight, like, well, wow.
Huberdeau has not been the same player. Uyghur's
At all.
okay. Like he's still doing pretty well. I'm actually wearing my
But he's
Uyghur
not as good
jersey
as
right
Matt
now.
Tkachuk.
No.
Also crazy, like how lopsided it was based off of like at the time. I remember people arguing either way. Like it was like
Right.
like, we won't
At the
know.
time, it
like,
felt like,
we won't know
what?
yet. Like we'll have to see. Time will tell. It's like
Yeah.
they're both good players.
A lot of people were saying like, "Oh, Flames like totally destroyed in this deal and stuff."
They
at
got
the
two
time.
good players,
Yeah.
but Huberdeau just sort of fell
100
off.
point score, or was it? I don't know if it was 100.
Yeah.
Points like that. Was it 100?
Yeah.
I think it was 100 for Huberdeau, right? That
It was
one
an
year,
insane season.
and playing with Barkov
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might have bought a little high.
a little.
But it was a tough position that Craig Conroy was in because they weren't gonna keep Kachuk. So it's like
Was that Craig back then? I thought Craig was more recent
pretty sure
than that.
it wasn't. The trade wasn't too long ago.
But that was like 2 years
'cause
ago.
Who was it when Goudreau ended up walking? Because then that GM went to Toronto. He's like, I'm not gonna let another player walk.
Oh, maybe it
after
was
this."
Tree Living then. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Tree Living.
Yeah. Okay. So Tree Living didn't have
And
a
then
know
Conroy
ton,
came in to replace him.
a ton of
I know
wiggle
he
room.
was there for Goudreau, and he might have been there for Kachuk too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was the GM for both of those
Oh.
because it was the same off season.
Very tough. That's how you lose your job.
Sorry, Flames
Or
fans.
leave your job. sorry, Flames
We
fans.
haven't really ripped on the Flames much on this podcast. So.
No, we don't
Every
really
team
have
gets
to.
their turn.
No.
They kind of do it all by themselves, don't they?
And also, it's not like any of our teams have beef with them.
True.
Just Edmonton and Vancouver, really.
Right.
They're
And that's
kind of in
just,
their
I
own
feel
little
like-
bubble up there.
Locational. Like, it's not like they're that good. I mean, they had Ginlo and Mustache Man.
Lanny McDonald.
Lanyard McDonald.
Lanyard, yeah. He won. He was on their their only cup winning team.
Where's Tej Ginla going in the draft this year?
He could go to Calgary. He's got
That'd
a
be
lot of
pretty
eyes
cool.
on him. I know
Yeah.
Sens have been on the radar, I guess. I don't know. It's gonna be. I think this is gonna be a really fun draft class to watch.
Yeah.
So we are only a couple days away from finding out. He's certainly projected to be a first rounder.
Now the Bruins have a first round pick to look forward to. So I guess
Yeah,
that's
Yay!
At the Sphere.
At the Sphere.
That's why Vegas didn't trade their pick away because they're like, well, we can't. We
Shit.
have to pick in the first round at our
It's basically a home game.
at our draft on the biggest stage. So
I'm surprised they're not trading up for a better pick just for the sake of it.
I don't think we have the assets to make that work.
Oh, you got plenty of assets. You can't tell me that
People might get
you
you a
couldn't
first.
trade us Jack Eichel for our 7th overall, 1-for-1.
Yeah, we would not do that.
Don't you want to draft early on? They'd be really cool.
No, it wouldn't.
Would you
You
do
need to
Jack Eichel
re-sign him
for
this offseason,
who's he? What's it? Number 1 pick?
For Celebrini,
Yeah.
I
think
don't
you guys
think
don't
San
win
Jose
now.
does that deal.
Right? But because you would.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's so stupid and unrealistic. Like I don't even think it's worth discussing.
Because Eichel was first overall, right? Or was he second?
Second in McDavid's
Second.
draft,
In the
Yeah.
McDavid draft, yeah.
2015.
Trade a second overall for a first overall in a different year.
Upgrade.
Yeah,
Like I
moving
said,
up.
I think the Knights are still trying to win now. So,
Right.
like, if you were rebuilding,
Yeah. That,
Or you trade Stone for the 4th overall pick and rebuild because he's getting older.
I don't think he's worth that. Probably with his injury history, like
That's fair.
probably not worth a first rounder that high, especially.
Or Petro maybe.
I don't know. We have a first rounder anyway, so I don't feel like it matters a whole lot.
What number is it?
19th,
19.
right in the meaty part.
Top
Before
20.
you start getting really bored. Like, all right,
Before you turn the TV off.
It's been 3 hours. I gotta go to bed. Like, this is gonna be in Vegas. I'll probably just go to sleep by the time the Golden Knights pick.
Or you should just go to sleep to start. Like, you know who's gonna get picked in the first spot. That's not exciting.
Okay, I fall asleep for the first pick, and then I don't know anything that's gonna happen after that.
Yeah.
You don't know
I
what
mean,
you're
but
talking
you could sleep
about,
up before. You could sleep before that, right? You could sleep up to the second pick.
I really don't care about the rest of the picks, though, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not going to know who it is at that late. Like, I just don't have that, like, amateur scouting knowledge. So,
Yeah.
I'll just be like, oh, okay, sure. I might have heard that name before. And
That
if not,
guy.
I
of
will
course,
learn about him later.
Mushka. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Learn about him when he scores 30 in his first year.
I'm interested to hear about the Red Loves Hockey podcast guests by the numbers.
I'm also interested to hear about that.
Don't get too interested. I
How
don't
many
have
times have I been on the podcast?
46 times, I think.
Yeah.
No, there's no.
Oh,
Wait, 46?
45, maybe.
Yeah, he was on a couple of the early ones.
Yeah, I counted that, too.
Oh.
But it was more than just Zane and Owen.
Yeah, you had a one-on-one with Sam as well.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't.
I'm pretty sure it's just 2 episodes.
Okay, well, anyway, let's hear the numbers.
Sure. The numbers. So, does anyone want to guess how many times Owen, who's obviously the number one guest, has been on? Owen, do you think you know? It's including today.
Oh, so I went through and was showing my parents and maybe counted, but I don't at all remember the exact number. Knowing there's 46, including today, right?
Well, this is episode 48.
48, right? Because Dean
Dina
that
was
was
not
already
in 2 episodes. Episodes
Right.
2 and 3.
48, 2 and 3. I think under half. I think I gotta go 22 episodes.
That seems like way high.
I don't know.
It's a
I
little
feel like
high.
I've been on
I was
constantly.
gonna say like,
Maybe
8.
okay, fine. 17.
oh well, then we had some of the quad. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna just say 12 because
I think I've been on a lot.
Really low.
The answer is 15, including today. So nobody
22
got
is
it
a little high,
quite
but
there, but yeah, 22 is a
15.
little high, but
Wow.
15. Gifford is next
Here.
up to bat with 6 appearances.
Okay.
Then we have Sandroni with 4, Zach Spears with 3, and then we have Zane, Sam, and Chandler all with 2, and then Bree and Steve each with 1 apiece, and Justin with 0.
Nice.
Shame.
I was telling Brendan like we should have tried to get him on for the finale.
Find
That
a
would've been
way
cool.
to get him in here.
He can be on the inaugural one for the next season.
We could bribe him with like Magic the Gathering cards, maybe.
Yeah, how much cardboard would it take to get him on the show?
I'll buy you packs, man.
Yeah, it could be worth a lot or nothing, but it could be worth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a dangerous game because he knows a lot more about it than I do, so if he's like, yeah, just get me this one, and it's like, yeah, I don't know what the hell you're trying to make me do.
Right.
But, yeah, so that's
$400 later.
That's a little bit of the numbers there, and obviously we've had a handful of episodes with just Dean and I, but it's been really fun having a lot of my friends and obviously fiance as well.
Fear of your enemies.
Yeah, no enemies so far, but maybe one day.
You didn't count how
Not
many
too many.
times the words "we'll see" came up.
I should have because it's a lot. Just in the
We'll see.
just in the first episode, it was like 50 times or something like that. And if you looked at like variants, like we will see or we shall see or whatever, it's
Yeah.
probably like in the
Whole thing.
close to 1,000, to be honest. Maybe not that bad.
In a few years' time, when we look back on how we grew into cable network superstars, we'll have some fans that'll do that for us.
Or
Cool.
AI by then, hopefully.
Or AI. Yeah.
But for now, we say thank you to all of our guests, past, present, and future. Thank you.
Our guests have passed. I wonder if anybody who's watched one of our episodes has died yet.
That's
a
a
fun
weird
thought.
thing to think.
Probably not. Or who the youngest person to have seen one of our episodes has been.
Also a good question.
Can you see that in the demographics on YouTube?
And
Do you see if any middle schoolers have watched our content?
our audience size isn't big enough to get those kind of metrics. I think.
Because then it would just tell us, it would just dox them. It would just tell us exactly what people.
Exactly. Yeah. We have hit the 30 subscriber threshold, which I was hoping we would get there by the end of the season, so that's cool.
That's pretty cool. Almost one per team.
Almost.
We have more subscribers than years of Florida Panthers existence.
Yes, we do.
That's exciting.
31 subscribers, 30 years of Florida Panthers hockey, and we probably have
I just have to make a few more
too.
Right. I just got to make a few more YouTube accounts, and we might get to 40.
But we don't have any TikTok followers, even though the link is still on our description page.
Yeah, I guess I should start taking that out. It is still on the overlay, but I think we're gonna do an overlay refresh for season 2.
It's exciting.
So heads up for that, Gifford. I know he's busy, but I have an idea of what I think I would like it to be, but I don't know how realistic it is. So we'll see next week, I suppose.
We'll see.
Thanks, Dean. We did see. Well, I didn't watch it, but the Hershey Bears. Sam was watching it. The Hershey Bears win the Calder Cup for the second straight season. Again over Coachella Valley, but this time in 6 games instead of 7. They win in overtime, and I believe they were at home in Hershey too. So, congrats to them. I was pushing for Coachella Valley, so that was a tough one. But good for Sam to have something exciting to watch after the Capitals continue to disappoint.
Yeah. He was apparently really excited about it, and obviously it's fun to see those rookies win, and it adds something right to the pedigree of those players coming up. But can you translate it to the top level? And Sam's hope is yes.
Yeah, we'll see if like the goalie has an impact for the Capitals this year too, because that's a kind of a question still with them.
Right.
With Kemper not being there anymore. So that'll be. I think we'll see one of the Hershey goalies play some decent minutes or games in DC this year. But it's probably going to be Lindgren, and then I don't know. Maybe they'll get a veteran or something. But I wouldn't be surprised if they play 3 or 4 goalies again this year.
I mean, I think it was a surprise they made the playoffs this year, right? I don't think they're expecting playoffs next year. I'd imagine they are focusing on. Yeah, they're focusing on OV goals and moving towards the future.
Yeah, development basically. Again, like I don't know how you could see yourself as like being close, like comparing the Capitals to this Panthers team or any of the finalists. It's like night and day.
Yeah,
Spencer Knight. So yeah, we'll see, right, Dean?
We'll see.
We'll
Did we talk
see.
about the Dylan DeMello signing?
I briefly mentioned it, but I don't
Okay.
I don't know if I provided the numbers for it.
It was 4 years, 4.9 per.
Okay, that's what I thought it was, and maybe I mentioned that, but I don't know.
I couldn't remember. But there you go. Another signing.
There you go. We've also got some news out of Arizona. So first, we had heard that the land auction that was scheduled for Thursday was canceled by the Arizona Land State Department or something like that. I don't remember what ALSD stands for, to be honest with you.
Arizona Land Sales Department, probably.
I don't think it's sales. Anyways,
Oh.
I should have written that down.
Ancient. Sectional.
He doesn't-
Society.
Secret, yeah, the secret department.
Secret.
Whoever it
Slippery.
is, they canceled the auction because they wanted the Panthers. Oh my God, I got Panthers on the brain. The Coyotes to reapply with a special zoning permit application. Apparently, they were the only applicants, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were other ones that might crop up. But yeah, I guess that was part of the reason. The Coyotes were kind of pushing back on it, and were like looking into potential litigation options, but that's probably not going to happen now, as this came out yesterday that owner Alex Meruelo is basically being done. Like, he's done with the team. He wants to sell, get out, get his money pretty much. I'm not sure. It sounds
What is there
like
to sell? What does he have?
he has the
trademark?
the team
IP?
Yeah. He has the team
guess.
trademark, the logos. So it sounds like that's probably gonna go to the NHL, I guess, and then they can kind of pick who they want as a potential owner for an expansion Coyotes team. Which honestly, I think this is for the best. I think a lot of people who were Coyotes fans and are now kind of lost in the shuffle are glad that he would not be a part of a future Coyotes team, because his just whole direction and everything with him has brought nothing but misery for Coyotes fans. And he promised a lot of things and like, oh yeah, we can do this, but this was his first time being like a sports team owner, and I think he didn't really understand all the ramifications of what goes into doing that, and so he's decided that he's not going to deal with this headache anymore, and let somebody else take care of it. I think, and I think this is what Bettman probably wanted too, to be honest, with how he was sort of navigating it. He gets a new franchise and a new market in Utah that he gets to play with. He gets to retain all of the rights for like Arizona stuff. Probably, I don't think that's official yet, but he gets to deal with that, and then sort of deal with getting a new owner and a new organization later down the road, and then probably pair that up with the 34th team as well from Atlanta or Houston or wherever.
Do you think they'd go to 34 before doing 36 and just making it 4-9 team divisions?
Yeah, I think they would probably do 34 first and then go to 36 if they wanted to. That seems like a lot. Like, I think the burden that it would put on teams to have all those expansion drafts like happen at the same time, like then with all those assets would be a lot. So I think just based on that and like the logistics of trying to deal with 4 brand new teams all at once would be a huge undertaking and probably not worth it, because you can't really market all of those like, oh look, we've got this team and this team and this team. It's like you kind of want to focus a little bit more on 1 or 2.
Right. They would want to have their own spotlight, their own year.
Yeah, and be sure that you can like support all of those, because that's a huge undertaking.
It takes a lot of good hockey players.
You'd have to have a lot of arenas already being built in the same sort of time frame. So, yeah, I think we'll probably see the league expand in like 5 or 6 years, if I had to take a guess. But right now, they're kind of just
2030.
focusing on what they've got. Yeah, maybe 29, 30 season, something like that.
That'd be fun. I think more teams is more or less better. I think we're at a good spot now with 32, a good stable spot, and I feel like 36 is the next stable spot. More than that feels like a lot. More than 40, I think, would be too many. But I could see it getting to 40 at some point if the sport continues to grow.
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money. If it can be afforded, right?
Yep. Okay.
And Arizona will be back. I think one of those teams, even before 40, probably. But I guess just to finish touching on the Meruelo thing, I think, like you said, Brendan, Meruelo backing out was like the best case for the league, and I know the league was careful about avoiding any potential lawsuits from Alex Meruelo, like the way they handled it, because they didn't want to have Meruelo file a lawsuit for saying that the league was like potentially blocking him from having his team or whatever. So they were really careful with that, and like again gave him this 5-year plan with specific timelines that he had to meet, and by Meruelo just calling it quits, it makes it easy for the league. And again, it's like now they don't have to worry about that, and they can continue on this plan of Owen was saying, like 36 teams or whatever. Maybe Arizona comes back to be one of those teams in the next decade. So
Yeah, it's on their own
Which makes it
timeline,
huge.
which is what they wanted.
yeah, good news for the league.
Yeah. And so I did look it up, and I had written the acronym incorrectly, I think, in the document. So that's why I was confused, because it is Arizona State Land Department, but I think I had written it as Arizona Land State Department, which is why when I was reading it, I'm like, something's not adding up. I'm pretty sure state was in here, but I don't think it should be in this spot. So
After land.
So in case anyone was like hoping, that we would address that, there you go. Got you covered. This also came out. I don't know if you guys saw the leak for the Ducks logo, the new Ducks logo, but yeah, the Honda Center app, which that's where the Ducks plays in Honda Center. They had their like app logo update, and it updated with a puck, and the inside had the new Ducks logo in it, which was pretty much what we were all expecting it to look like. And the full jersey reveal will be tomorrow. There's already been some more official like snippets that they've shown the Ducks have. So we'll see what that looks like tomorrow. I think it'll be pretty similar or exactly like the leaks that we had discussed last week. But I'm excited to see the full reveal. We did also see the Capitals tweet out, because of their next season is going to be their 50th anniversary, so they showed off their 50th anniversary patch that they're going to have on the jerseys, and so that was like a full look at what the Fanatics jerseys are going to look like next season. So that was kind of cool, but I'm not sure where they're going to put their captain and alternate patches, because the kind of two spots were already taken up. Like, I think the 50th anniversary patch was over here, and then they had the ad patch that was over here. So it's like, okay, where is the captain's going to be in the middle, or is it going to be on the, like, what's going on here?
Put it like on the belly, put it right in the middle.
Yeah, I guess their logo kind of lends some area down below, because it's so small.
Instead of the big W, it's just a big C and a big A for those players. And so it says Caw.
Caw, yeah. You'd have to be a captain and an alternate.
Oh, no. Like when they line up next to each other.
Oh, when they line up, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that would be fun. But no. I'm pretty sure they're not going to have that W jersey anymore.
Yeah, sad.
Because Sam was
mentioning need more single letter jerseys. If you can get the W and I have an O, we can get another person with a W jersey. Or we could get Dean with a big B, and it could be Bo.
Or Boo.
Or Bow, depending on if you're on a boat or not.
Yeah. What do you I don't, did you guys have any thoughts on the Ducks jerseys? Obviously, they're not out yet, so
These seem cool, but
I
yeah,
like them. I
just
like the
waiting
new
for the-
logo. I like the color.
I'm
Yeah.
just
I
glad
think
it's
it's
something
I
different.
like everything. But again, I think I mentioned it last episode.
like it all.
I like everything. Wow, you got the on the ice to really know, but
Right.
from the
And under
dark
like the ice
and,
lights.
and shaded, blurry picture, I liked it.
Right, right. The
We'll
out of the
probably,
shadows.
We'll probably throw up a picture of it because we'll have it once this video comes out. So take a look there. Oh, wow, those look great, or those look not great now. They probably look good. I'm just glad that like the weird striping that the Ducks were using on their home jerseys will not be returning, because that was always kind of a weird choice that they had. Like no other teams really had striping like that, and sometimes it's like cool to differentiate yourselves, but if it doesn't work, it's like, ooh, now you're gonna have this for a while. But I'm excited to see some new eras in South California, with LA also sporting their new look. No purple again. Bummer. But I think what they did is a good refresh. So we'll see if other teams follow suit over the next couple seasons as Fanatics gets more underway. Their new template will probably come in a couple seasons. So we'll have basically Adidas jerseys, more or less. Like, they'll be pretty similar for the next couple years, and then Fanatics will take over with their template. So
Neat.
always going to be more jersey news. And actually, I haven't shared this with
Yeah,
you
this
guys
podcast.
yet. Yeah, absolutely. But I did actually buy the Colorado one.
No way.
I impulsively sort of reached out to an eBay seller, and so it's on the way. So my collection.
Well, I just
will
bought
now
it
be
for
done.
you. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
surprise.
I
Yeah.
also just bought it for you.
You can have
What
3
the
now.
heck?
Oh my God, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have all of the jerseys that are available for that type.
Right. Literally all of them on the market.
Yeah.
Now you can sell them for 2,000 a piece because you own them all.
Yeah, I can just jack up the prices. No, I was
did you
able
look
to
at-
work out a deal, and I mean it still wasn't a great price, and it's the most I've ever spent on a jersey, so that was a lot, but it's
So did you,
behind
like-
me now.
Did you bid or you just like put in an offer and he accepted?
I messaged him like separately and was like, could you, because he wasn't accepting offers, but I was like, is there any way you could work with me a little bit, because he had it up for a while on eBay and it just wasn't selling. So I'm like, he's probably he's probably making double what he paid for it if he got it like when they first dropped.
Sure.
So it's like, you're still gonna make a decent amount of money.
Is it a player jersey?
It is unfortunately a blank.
Mm.
And it's also,
But I mean, that I feel
a
like
size
it's the cheapest
smaller
part.
than I normally wear. Yeah.
It completes the collection.
There was
You know,
one,
every 2.0 or every 1.0?
I already have all the 2.0s, and this will be the last 1.0
This is
that I
all
do.
of the reverse retros.
This is everything, yeah. So
So
this
are you
rack
gonna-
will
That's
be
the
complete.
total.
Are you gonna keep it for a bit and then
And put
Start
it away.
going through and like cleaning out the not so favorite ones?
Haven't decided yet. I feel like eventually I will do that, like, because there are some that I'm just like, I don't love it, but I just got it so I could have the collection. But I don't know if I'll always feel
All
that
of
way.
Detroit.
Yeah, I don't like either of theirs. They definitely missed on both of those.
And so would you just put them on a different rack, or would you just, like, sell them?
I'm not sure what I would do. I might just
Give 'em to a friend.
reintegrate them into the main pool and
The main
just-
rack?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be able to fit them all on one, but I would just have two that are
Right.
that are organized, I guess.
I would want to sit them next to each other and go through and line them up by color.
Ugh.
I think that would be so satisfying to look at.
I mean, like, I guess, but also the organizational part of me is like, there's no way in hell I would do that. Like,
you
at
can
least-
undo it.
At least permanently, like maybe for fun,
Right,
like for
right.
picture, I guess.
Like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
rainbow,
yeah.
like a rainbow.
Yeah.
Make like a little jersey rainbow sort of thing.
Yeah, next Pride, you got a rainbow jersey.
Well, it's still Pride right now.
Jersey rainbow. Yeah. Wow, Brendan, you're so uninclusive. You won't even make rainbow jersey? Ugh,
What do you mean?
we're getting canceled.
Yeah, okay. I was the one who said maybe.
Yeah, that's fair. Mine are also in a rainbow orientation. Purple, red.
Black? Not part of the rainbow.
Not part of the rainbow. Neither is cream.
Yeah, not cream.
What I do think our fans might not like that a rainbow reorganization of the jerseys only because they probably are with you on it being in the right order by team. I know our fans would love to see us play GM Connected in NHL 25.
You know that for sure?
I know that for sure because I am a fan of the show and I would love that. And Dean's a fan of the show and he would love it.
Well, I said it before. I'd never played that mode, but I know I'd be interested. I mean, for those who don't know, it's similar to like fantasy hockey, but I mean, so obviously NHL the game, but you don't actually need to play the hockey part. You can just do the signing and trading and manage a team, and then like sim the games. And the connected part is you could be. I think it was the last time I was in the game was NHL 14. I think you could have 30 people.
Oh,
Um,
because there was 30
so
teams.
well, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was still just 30. Yeah. So I guess now it would be 32. But yeah, if we did get it, then we could have all
The
of
three of
our
us and every
viewers
subscriber.
join. Every subscriber could have a team.
Because
Yeah.
I was thinking we could also, like, I mean, if we're gonna do it, we already have all the recording stuff on our computers. We could just record it as well and release it as the Bread Loves Hockey podcast plays second channel, where we play hockey.
Or just watch The Sims.
Yeah, right. When we
Maybe.
make it to the conference finals against each other.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool.
It's also I guess it's also more fun than just playing like the normal franchise mode because you can always just like force trades to the AI. So it's like now
Right.
you're actually trading with other people, so it's more like
We could make it a league where it's just.
realistic.
We could make it get Gifford, and it could be just the four of us, and we separate all of the players into just four teams, and we trade with each other, and we just play a year and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe.
You could have Matthews and Eichel and Barkov all on your team.
Whoever you want.
Who knows? Who knows? The future is now. You can play Chell on the computer. It's wild. I never imagined such a time would come.
Well, it was on there for a little bit, but that was back in the day.
Right.
It wasn't quite the same game as it is now.
No, I played 2006 and 2007 as a kid with my dad, and I remember he would just skate circles around me, and I didn't understand how to get the puck. I also didn't understand how to play hockey because I hadn't seen it before as a 9-year-old or whatever. But yeah, it was a blast back in the day. I looked, and we don't have any of them anymore.
Too bad. A
Probably
lot of
would've run anyways.
the old like sports games are usually pretty easy to come across because like everybody doesn't
Nobody
care
wants
about them once the new version comes out.
Right.
So
Very
like,
replaceable.
I was at the thrift store there in Pennsylvania when we were down there for the wedding, and send you guys some photos of a whole bunch of different ones that they had.
Yeah.
They had NHL 95. Cool. They had 06, 07. They had a bunch of those old ones for different systems. That was kind of cool. I could pretty easily get the full set if I wanted to, probably, but I don't really have any desire for that.
Yeah.
Like
if you didn't play them, then I feel like there's
play
not much
them,
nostalgia.
and they'd just be like sitting there as a display, and I don't really feel like spending that kind of money. So
yeah,
I've got another obsession right now.
Be a lot cheaper collection.
Yeah,
it would be a lot cheaper.
It would be
until you get to 25.
Well, I was gonna say, or there's some like very like 90, 99 like super rare or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
it could be like certain
year.
versions and stuff. Yeah, folks, I think it's time to call it a close. Owen, I guess we'll start with you if you have any final remarks for just our first year covering the league and hockey in general, and your experience being here.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say thank you. I appreciate being on the podcast. I'll always be on, even if schedules are sometimes crazy and I can't always make it, or we have to change, or even when you ask me last second, I'll still say yes sometimes. But yeah, I've loved being on the podcast. I think it's been a blast. I've really enjoyed watching you go for this after watching your Twitch career, sort of, watching you, but dive so hard into it and really love doing it, but it just not paying off, I guess, in the way that you wanted. Being able to see you have more fun doing this, it seems like, because it's just us hanging out, chatting. It's been a blast. The podcast has been a really, I think, pivotal part in me not only just keeping up with you guys more, but also keeping up with the hockey season more and being more into it, which, hey, I'm not going to mind being more committed to the hockey season. It was a good one, other than, losing all hope slowly throughout the season. That wasn't my favorite part. And sadly going into madness, believing that we're going to be okay, but, there's always next year for the Sens.
But other than
Or-
that,
But other than that,
Yeah.
no, I mean, it was a blast. So much fun.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna echo a lot of what Owen said. Like, super fun season. I feel like it flew by. Like, I remember obviously episode 1, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll edit your podcast," and then I'm like, "Man,
Sure.
I'll just do this full time. Why not? Like, it sounds fun. Like, I just get to talk hockey every week."
Yeah.
And like also like Owen said, kind of held me accountable to like stay up to date on the hockey news, and like I feel like I know a lot, or like was just, it seemed like a lot more made sense throughout the year. Like I was like, oh yeah, I remember this happening because I talked about it the week before or whatever.
Mhm.
So that was kind of neat. I feel like for next year, maybe my goal would be to get closer to Brennan's level of players on teams and that sort of thing. Just study all summer, memorizing.
Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe we'll probably have lots of quizzes this off season.
oh,
so
you
Oh,
know
yeah.
it. You know it.
I'm so stoked.
maybe that'll
Game master.
help.
Mm.
So yeah, looking forward to the off season as well.
Yeah.
Should be a fascinating off season.
Right.
Excited for everyone to see the compilation like we talked about at the beginning of the episode.
Me too.
Like Brendan said, we spent a lot of time on that. So I'm probably gonna edit some more of it after we finish recording this.
yeah.
I'm gonna put it on my
looking
resume,
forward
so
to
it
the
better be good.
off-season and more years to come.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, I'm just really grateful for everybody that's taken the time to watch, to listen, to appear on the show. I ask a lot of our guests as far as blocking out 2 hours of their day, and sometimes I don't always get as much advance notice as I would like to. It's tough, and I definitely badger these guys like every week. It's like, hey, remember my podcast? Like, think you could come on? But yeah, so super grateful to have Owen come on for 15 episodes, and everybody else that's been here along the way. It's been really fun. Being able to share all of my hockey opinions. They're not always the most insane takes or anything like that, but I hope you've enjoyed listening and evolving with us throughout this season, because episode 1 was a lot different than where we are now, and I hope I get to say that at the end of next season as well. Like, I can't believe how much better things have improved since then. And yeah, obviously Dean's been a huge part of the team too, so I gotta give a special shout out to Dean for not only editing and being with us every week, except for a couple in the very beginning before he had come on full time. And yeah, it's just been a blast, and I can't wait to do it again next week.
Yay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Forgot to mention the the fun of learning how to edit, like
Yeah.
kind of on the spot. Like I had
Just
like
on the fly.
minimal knowledge, but like the first episode probably took like 6 or 7 hours to edit, and it was like,
Whoa.
and then we had the like recording issues, so I was like splicing two
Right.
different like video sources together. But like, luckily we've gotten a little better. We still have issues. I think the internet quality was better on Brendan's end tonight, but yeah. So we've
We're
we've all
living and
grown in
learning.
our own ways
Yep.
throughout this hockey season.
Figuring out. It'll be interesting to see in the compilation like hair length changes and like
My
all of
November
that.
beard.
Your November beard, the backgrounds, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the
I
evolution
told-
of the background for me has
Yeah.
been crazy. Like we looked at the first couple episodes and it's like, where is everything? There's like nothing back
Right.
there. I had no signs pretty much. Just had the jerseys more or less. And actually, I just put up the Bread Loves Hockey podcast sign that Bree got for me. It's finally
Nice.
hanging up instead of leaning on my
Yep.
radiator back there. So last episode we got it in.
It's in a good spot. It's in a good spot. I like it. I think
Yeah.
it fits well up there.
Yeah, and when we were going through clips, I also pointed out to Brendan how like the early episodes I had my background was like picked up and neat, and then I slowly started caring less and less, and I'm like, nah, like I
Now
don't
it's
need
an
my
odd.
bed made. I can have clothes on the ground, whatever.
My parents, that's all they comment on when I put it on is that Dean's room is so messy. He doesn't even make his bed. I'm like,
And
Dean
he
doesn't
doesn't
care.
care.
We're not talking about bed making. We're talking about hockey.
Yeah.
We hope to talk more hockey very soon.
We hope to
Let's end this
hockey.
episode with an awkward round of applause for the host, Brendan.
Can you hear it? Can you hear me clapping when I'm talking? I think
Oh,
you can
I
hear it
hear
while
it,
I'm also
yeah.
talking.
Folks, thanks very much.
See ya.
Bye. Brendan, big personal news. Remember that conversation we had?
Owen's getting married.
Oh my god. That's not what we
no,
said.
no, 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 no.